would you like to heal your gut? Today we have Lea Dombrowski, and she will share about how you too can heal your gut so you can potentially lose weight or simply heal your body. She's a holistic health coach and nutritionist who helps women lose weight and heal their gut. So she does this by using nutrition, lifestyle changes, fitness, and functional medicine to address the whole person and get to the root of the issue. Now, Lea, please tell us first, why would someone want to heal their gut and how can they actually do it?
Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about gut health, a lot of people don't even know that they have a gut issue. So I always tell people, like, how do you know you have a gut issue? So there's a few different things here. So every type of disease is a gut issue. So diabetes, autoimmune disease, insulin resistance, PCOS, endometriosis, all these issues that people talk about and have nowadays, they do stem from the gut. But also issues like bloating, constipation, acne, eczema, psoriasis, all these things do come from a gut issue and a gut imbalance. So by healing your gut, not only in like addressing your gut, not only can you relieve these symptoms that are, super frustrating, but you can also heal the issue. For example, I had an autoimmune disease. I had Hashimoto's, and through lifestyle, nutrition, and functional medicine, I was able to send that autoimmune disease into remission. So I no longer have the autoimmune disease. It no longer gives me symptoms and I no longer struggle with it, but that's because I got to the root cause instead of going on a medication. So that's why I love talking about gut health and functional medicine and how it differs. So that's kind of how you know there is a gut health issue in the first place that needs to be addressed. And kind of like I mentioned, to heal it, it's not, that's it depends on the person, right? I can't really give like an exact protocol, but I definitely think that's hugely nutrition, lifestyle, and also getting to the root cause with something like functional medicine instead of going to a doctor or being put on a medication. So I think those three kind of modalities make the biggest difference in like healing the gut and seeing a difference in symptoms and diseases and stuff like that.
Okay, let's take a practical example. I've had acne all my life, and through TikToks, I have discovered that could be caused by some issue in my gut. And you also mentioned it now. The second thing that I have is PCOS. Let's say if you wanted to treat, let's take just one of my issues. Okay, let's take just acne. Okay, and I'm 43 at the moment. So considering that I've struggled with acne and I still struggle with acne, and the only way I managed to control it is by using benzoyl peroxide cream that it controls it in the sense of not growing too big, but it's still, it's very annoying to still deal with that at 43 years old. What would you have me do to heal my gut so that I would overall heal my entire, appearance, look, and feel? The other thing that I suffer from is actually, I used to suffer, let's say, from fatigue and bloating. And I would say constipation used to be the case as well. But let's take just acne for now. What would you have someone do to heal their gut to remove or reduce acne?
Yeah, so skin issues, like I said, are typically a gut issue. So a lot of topical creams, like you mentioned, aren't getting to the root cause. So they're not very helpful. I think a lot of creams can actually make a lot of people's acne worse and like irritate the skin, just because a lot of skincare that at least I'm aware of has a lot of harmful ingredients that can be very harmful for the skin. So when we're talking about acne, there's a few different things going on there. But the biggest one would be a gut imbalance. So yeah, acne, as much as you put cream on your face, as much as you take Accutane, as much as you take these medications or whatever, there's still a root cause that is causing the acne. And a lot of people don't see relief from their acne until they take a deeper look at their gut. And this can be a lot of issues, but typically when I do see skin issues, and it's interesting you brought up bloating and fatigue as well, because typically skin issues like acne, eczema, psoriasis, arthritis, typically what I'll see on blood work will be some sort of mold. So a lot of people are exposed to mold through their house, through food, through the environment. And I'm not saying every single person with a skin issue has mold. Please don't take that. But I would say most people that I do read their blood work and I do their testing, I will see some sort of mold, and mold can cause a lot of skin issues. So that's typically what I see. So by addressing the gut and by addressing whatever it is for that person, whether that's mold, whether that's, leaky gut, whether that's SIBO, like whatever it is, by addressing that root cause issue and getting rid of the mold or the SIBO in the body, then the acne can start to clear up. The other thing that I was mentioning as far as products, so a lot of products do have harmful ingredients in them that are actually something we call as pore cloggers. So a lot of skincare brands do use pore clogging ingredients that can make the skin worse. Because if you really think about it, the point of a skincare brand is to get you coming back and keeping buying the product. So if they totally remove your acne, you're not going to keep buying the product. So yeah, there are good skincare brands out there, but you kind of have to do your research on the ingredients that, like, what are you using? What are you putting on your face? And are they pore clogging ingredients that are clogging the pores? Because that can make acne worse and kind of inflame the skin. So I always tell people really be cautious of what you put on your skin. Like even things like beef tallow and like natural ingredients are way better for your skin than a really expensive product. So like the more natural you can kind of get at and the more you can get to the root cause, that would be like the most ideal thing as far as acne or any skin imbalance. Because for me, I also had acne, and I did have mold. So that's typically what I will see. So I definitely would recommend getting functional lab testing done, seeing like what is the root cause, what's kind of causing my acne, what's causing my skin imbalance, and kind of working with somebody to help remove whatever it is that is causing that so your skin can start to clear up, because a lot of toxins kind of expel through the skin and that can cause acne. So it's typically some sort of like, toxin coming to the skin that is causing the acne to form, if that makes sense.
Thank you. So let's take an example of a person who has mold. Let's say you did the lab testing. It turns out this person has mold, and because of that, they have acne issues. What is recommended that they do? First of all, does that mean they can't have moldy cheese? Second of all, do they have to take something like yeast purge? I have seen like some pills. Someone was like talking about online. It was saying that yeast purge or some pills that could actually help you to expel mold from your body. Or are there any other like health, like naturistic protocols that someone would do to remove mold from their body?
Yeah, so I can talk about my own story. So I had mold, but I did have a lot of other things. So typically, you're not just going to have mold. There's going to be other things in there. So there's going to be maybe parasites or heavy metals or toxins or something that's kind of other things going on in your body. So the very foremost thing that you need to do is get testing done. And if you not sure you have mold, then you cannot address it. So you have to get testing done and you have to get functional lab testing done. So work with a functional medicine practitioner, a homeopathic practitioner, someone who can do lab testing from a functional, holistic perspective, because doctors and going to your primary care physician, they're not going to be able to run the labs that are actually able to see if your body has mold. So definitely work with the right practitioner. And then once you are at that practitioner, they're going to run different tests and see what is going on. So if you do have mold, if you don't have mold, if you have something else, that test can also guarantee it, because what that practitioner is going to do is look at your labs and make a protocol that's tailored to you. So in my practice, I do functional lab testing, and every single person is different. So what I would recommend to one person is going to be different from the next person because it's very, very customized. So you're going to be getting like supplements, herbal remedies, but also lifestyle remedies as well, like nutrition and other things to help heal your body, heal your gut, and get rid of the mold or whatever else is kind of causing the issue. So that's kind of what I would recommend is get testing done because every single person is different. But for mold, if you really want to, like, yeah, it does take a lot of nutrition changes. When I had mold, I had to pretty much go on like a very anti-inflammatory diet for about 2 years. And it is what it is. And, I feel so much better now and I'm able to eat cheese now. I'm able to eat coffee now. I'm able to eat different things and feel fine. But in the past, since I did have mold, like those foods were just kind of making it worse. So I did have to make nutrition changes and I did have to go on supplements and make changes to my life to be able to see a difference in the way I felt because my symptoms were bloating. I had an autoimmune disease. I had really bad skin. I had horrible fatigue. Like I barely could function throughout the day. And it was mostly caused by mold. And I got it personally from living in a moldy apartment, so I had to move. So that was kind of part of my protocol is like moving to another place that didn't have mold, or additionally like sending how do you say it? Like a mold person to kind of clean it up and get rid of it, remediation, however you pronounce it, to kind of help get rid of the mold in your house or wherever you kind of are, whatever source it's coming from.
Thank you. First of all, tell us what's the name of the test that we should ask for when working with a practitioner to help us heal our gut. What should we ask for?
If you go to a functional medicine practitioner, like they're going to help guide you through that. So I can't, like I said, it depends on the person. So like for me in personally in my practice, what I do, every functional medicine practitioner is different. But what I do is I start with a blood panel. And again, it's a functional lab blood panel. It's very different from the blood work you're getting done at your primary care physician because we're looking at different ranges and we're looking at those ranges differently because again, we're looking for the root cause and what's causing it versus whatever, But basically what I say, your primary care physician with the blood work, they're looking at the ranges based off the average of the US population. And if you think of the US, we're very obese, we're very ill, we're very sick. But in functional medicine, we're looking at optimal ranges, and this allows us to see that root cause. So that's kind of the difference between functional and conventional medicine. But for me, yeah, I do start with blood work. And from that blood work, I'm kind of able to make connections on like what's going on in the body. So from that blood work, I'll be able to see mold. I'll be able to see like whatever else is maybe going on. And if I need to run another lab, I can recommend that. So sometimes I'll run like a big common one is like a GI map, which is more like a gut panel. There's like a Dutch test, which is more of a hormonal panel that I will run. But again, I like to start with blood work because blood work is a more of like an overview panel versus the GI map is just for the gut and the Dutch test is just for hormones. Blood work, I'm kind of really able to see so many different things and make those connections. So that's personally what I like to start with is blood work. But again, other practitioners do other things. So I would just kind of find a practitioner that you trust and that you feel comfortable with and ask them like what they would recommend because everybody kind of navigates things differently.
Thank you. For someone who has parasites, what would you have them do to eliminate parasites?
Yeah, so first thing I do personally in my practice is a drainage protocol, especially if you do have parasites, because parasites in particular, they tend to live in something called a biofilm. So parasites are really smart and they create these little homes that we call biofilms in functional medicine. So the first protocol I have people on is a drainage protocol because we want to go into the body and bust up these biofilms and kind of also make sure that your body is optimal to start getting rid of the parasites. Because if you just jump to a parasite protocol, you may not be doing anything because those parasites are just living in biofilms and living in your body. But if you start with drainage protocol and get that biofilms busted, get your body optimal, then once we go into that parasite protocol, it's more likely to work and you're more likely to get rid of and expose those parasites. So you always want to start with a drainage protocol, and then you want to go into a parasite protocol, which would just be getting them out of the body and being on certain herbs and lifestyle changes as well to make sure they are able to come out optimally.
Thank you. So let's say if I'm currently taking what do you call it, like supplement that is supposed to help me get rid of parasites, like wormwood and some other walnut. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact names of supplements, but basically something that will help me in general with digestion. Does that mean that I'm not actually helping my gut that much until I actually do this kind of drainage? Because, for example, I was reading up on TikTok. Again, TikTok seems to be a great source of stuff for me. That if you have like papaya seeds, if you have, I don't know, garlic, and I can't remember what else, turmeric and so on, you can actually get rid of some parasites. Is that true, or it's not really true? And if it's a myth, what can someone do by themselves? Is there anything they can do by themselves without going to an actual therapist to help them heal their gut?
To be honest, I think TikTok and a lot of things you see on TikTok are a marketing scam, and I would not recommend somebody get their medical advice from TikTok or Google or any other resource outside of a professional. So if you really are having an issue, there's really only so much you can do on your own, unfortunately. And yes, there's a lot of things you can do on your own as far as nutrition and lifestyle, but I never, and I really like to emphasize this, never buy a supplement you see online. Never. Never, please don't. They're all marketing scams. Like 99% of the time I see them, they're marketing scams. And even when they're not, and even when I'm like, oh, I know that supplement, I trust the supplement, you're not 100% sure if that's the supplement that's right for you and right for your body. Like I said, the only way to be 100% sure is to get blood work, to do a test, and to get a professional to prescribe it to you. And the biggest way I kind of explain this to someone is like, if you were having heart pain, would you just randomly go on the internet and take a heart medication that someone else was on? No, you would go to a heart doctor, you would get your heart looked at, and you would get a medication that's designed for your heart and whatever's going on with you, because that person's heart issue may be different than your heart issue. So that's like the biggest way I can describe it. It's like, please, like, don't go on random supplements. Personally, like before I became a practitioner, I wasted so much of my time and money doing that, like doing random diets, doing random supplements, but that's not addressing you and your needs. So I would tell people, if you are having issues and you think you have mold or you think you have SIBO or whatever it is, please get professional help. But if you're kind of just looking to make changes to your nutrition and lifestyle, yes, there's a lot you can do in that avenue. But as far as supplements and like root cause, like I'd really, really be cautious about what you're doing online.
Thank you. I actually went to a functional medicine therapist many years ago, maybe 7 years ago, and she said that I have leaky gut. Now, I haven't taken anything from what she actually said to take. So I'm wondering, what would you recommend for people like me that have leaky gut so they can start healing their gut?
I mean, if you went 7 years ago, I would probably get retested because a lot of things change. For you in particular, 7 years is a long time, and the gut does kind of change and like heal it on its own sometimes. And while you may still have leaky gut, it may be different and something else may be needed for you. But I know for leaky gut in particular, that is a huge herbal, like a lot of herbal things. So I would never recommend like an antibiotic. I know a lot of people get prescribed that, but I do really recommend herbal remedies and also nutrition, because when you have leaky gut, a lot of foods can leak into the intestinal lining. So you really want to be cautious about eating inflammatory foods when we're talking about nutrition. So that's kind of focusing on whole and nutrient dense foods, really making sure like, hey, you're not going to buy processed foods like chips, candy, fast food, eating out, like those things are really processed and can cause a lot of inflammation in the body. So eating more whole and nutrient dense foods, which would be like chicken or carrots or things with one singular ingredient, will really help your gut and make sure like, hey, you are fueling it in the right way. And for people with leaky gut in particular, I always recommend like trying to avoid like inflammatory foods that are not processed. So even things like gluten can be really sensitive to leaky gut. Dairy, eggs, those things. I see a lot of people with leaky gut have trouble digesting those things. So taking some of like the inflammatory foods and kind of looking at your own diet and be like, okay, how can I make this a little bit more beneficial for me and my body? And again, working with a practitioner, they can kind of help you navigate like, oh, what foods are causing my symptoms, or what should I avoid, or what should I include in my diet? But I would always tell people like really number one, focus on whole and nutrient dense foods as much as possible and eat like processed foods as little as you can. Of course, like every once in a while is fine, but majority of the time, like really nourish your body with whole foods and the proper nutrients.
Thank you. How can I reduce inflammation in my body? And I'm not talking just me, person with leaky gut, but how can I like any entrepreneur do that? Is there any test again that needs to be done to kind of discover, okay, are you allergic to certain things that will cause inflammation? Or is it like a generic thing that there are certain things that will cause inflammation no matter what for pretty much everyone? We should avoid those. And if yes, what are the types of foods that cause inflammation? And what can we do to avoid them?
Yeah, so like I said, I think whole and nutrient dense foods would be number one. What you eat directly impacts your gut health. So eating a lot of processed foods, eating out at restaurants a lot can really cause a lot of inflammation. So I recommend like try to eat at home, cook at home, experiment with different foods and cooking, really focus on nutrients. So like what nutrients are you getting? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough fiber? Are you eating your vegetables and your fruits? Like kind of not just eating the same things every day, like really getting a variety of nutrients in your diet and in your foods. I think that can really help inflammation, and not eating processed foods and not going to the store and like buying whatever you want all the time. Like really make those changes to really fuel your body properly. And I think that's a lot of inflammation is that, and also a lot of inflammation can come from lifestyle. So stress can cause a lot of inflammation, lack of sleep can cause inflammation, not hydrating yourself properly can cause inflammation. So like really, like it sounds silly, but I think people kind of know the basis of like self-care and like taking care of your body. So like how would you take care of your body? Like treat it properly, and that includes things like sleep, like stress reduction, like eating properly and eating enough food and eating the right foods, and also moving your body properly. So not being sedentary all the time, like going on walks, going to the gym, like taking care of yourself. I think that alone can cause huge changes to inflammation. And through nutrition and lifestyle alone, a lot of my clients have seen huge improvements in the way they look, the way they feel, their digestion, their hormones, just from what they eat. So I think just focusing on that can really make an improvement. And I always tell people, like, really make sure you are eating enough, make sure it's whole and nutrient dense, and make sure you are getting protein. Like, look at your protein intake. Are you eating enough protein? Most people aren't. I always recommend 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. And then for fiber, I recommend 30 grams of fiber per day. So like making sure you are getting that fiber in, that can really help you with inflammation and digestion. So those little things do make a really big difference. But I would say, as far as like if it is a chronic issue, like autoimmune or PCOS, or like you're suffering from bloating, no matter what you do, then you would need to get some testing done.
Thank you. How can I reduce bloating? Aside from everything you talked about, inflammation. Is bloating and inflammation the same thing? No, right?
No, I mean, yes, bloating is inflammation, but people have inflammation in other ways. Like you can get inflammation through your skin, or other ways outside of bloating. So bloating isn't always, it is inflammation, but there's different forms of inflammation. But bloating is really a gut issue. So yes, it can be nutrition. And a lot of people I talk to, like just by changing their nutrition, have reduce their bloating, but typically there is a root cause to it. So for me, that was one of my big symptoms, was bloating. And no matter what I ate, what I changed in my lifestyle, no matter how clean I ate, I was still bloated. So a lot of bloating can be a root cause, but if it is not a root cause and it is nutrition based, the most common things I see are food and food quality, and also how much you are eating. So under eating and not fueling your body enough can cause bloating, because that slows down your digestion. So I would really for like people who are bloating, really like what I would always recommend to anyone is start paying attention to your food. I think calorie counting is a really great tool for that because not only can you understand how much you are eating, you can understand what you are eating and what nutrients those foods have. So for me, with my bloating, like I was definitely not eating enough and not fueling my body properly. And once I started eating enough and eating enough consistently, for me, I saw huge improvements in my digestion, but I still had a root cause. So, one thing could be food and how much you're eating, but also what you're eating. If you're constantly eating inflammatory foods, like, for example, like McDonald's or candy or chips, like, yeah, that can cause bloating as well. And also, like, bloating every now and again isn't an issue. It's if it's chronic and every day. And after every meal, that's kind of when it's like, okay, there is some deeper root cause here at play.
Thank you. What can someone do to have a supermodel body? Like to lose weight and have that, that tummy. When you look at it, you're like, wow, I look absolutely amazing. And like, what can they do from a healing their gut kind of perspective to make this happen? Are there any like habits, practices, routines, anything? Is it like, I don't know, massaging your tummy, or is there anything that someone can do to, have a supermodel tummy and lose weight and heal their gut in the process?
I think most people in America are under muscled, and that causes fat gain, especially around the stomach. So I think the number one thing I recommend for people is strength train and build muscle, because when you build muscle and you go to the gym, and not just go to the gym and pick up 5 pounds, you want to go to the gym and pick up a weight and feel challenged. Your workout should feel challenging. You want to lift heavy. You want to lift consistently. I recommend going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week and building muscle effectively. So addressing every single muscle group. And again, training with intention and training hard and challenging. So building muscle not only speeds up your metabolism, it also, once you build muscle, you will lose fat essentially. And this is called a body recomposition. So muscle has so many benefits, not only to the way you look, but how you feel. So having muscle will help you age more gracefully. It can make you fight off diseases and inflammation faster. So there was some research done on having muscle and cancer patients. The cancer patients with more muscle were able to beat cancer more times more likely than people who did not have muscle. It also allows you to play with your kids even at 80 years old. It allows you to be flexible. It prevents injuries, muscle loss, bone loss, stuff like that when you age. So muscle has so many benefits, and anyone can build muscle at any age. I've had clients who are 70 years old have a body recomposition and build muscle, and it changed not only the way they looked, but also the way they were able to move around. So it's really, really beneficial for anybody at any age, but also looking good is 80% what you eat. So if you don't eat right, you will always not look ideal, even if you work out every single day. So 80% of the battle is nutrition. And again, I would recommend calorie counting, even if it's just for a week or two, and having a baseline understanding of what you are eating and the macronutrients and the nutrients and how you are fueling your body. If you're consistent, if one day you're eating a lot of food and the next day you don't eat anything, like that can really affect the way you look. So I would say the two things is strength train, go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, and secondly, really eat enough and eat enough consistently, because you need food to build muscle and stimulate muscle growth.
Thank you. I've used intermittent fasting successfully to lose weight and have a slimmer waist. And how I've used it is in the summer, I was trying to eat between, I would say, 11, although there was no like limit in terms of starting early, and then finishing the latest at 4 o'clock. But I would try my best to eat before 2, and then I would eat nothing until the next day. And what I found was really, really effective in terms of like reducing bloating and, having a slimmer waist. And it was hard to do it, but once I kind of got into it, it was fine. So I wonder, do you recommend someone does some sort of intermittent fasting or other lifestyle changes that will help them to heal their gut?
I'm not a fan of fasting. I'm pretty anti-fasting. And I'll tell you why. So most women who fast undereat. And even though in the short term you may lose weight, if you're not eating enough and eating enough consistently, that can affect your metabolism and actually cause your body to not only hold on to fat, but to have issues like chronic fatigue, to lose your period, to have issues like bloating. Like I said, what you eat does not only affect the way you look, but how you feel. So women who undereat lose their period, they start losing their hair, they start having issues like bloating, acne, just because their body is not getting enough food and enough nutrients. So it's really hard to eat enough when you fast. If you're only eating 1 meal a day, if you're only eating 2 meals a day, it is really hard to get enough calories and enough nutrients to fuel your body properly. So if you want to lose weight, I wouldn't recommend fasting, just because it is causing a lot of metabolic issues. So in my practice with a lot of women who are a little bit older and are struggling with weight loss, they have a metabolism issue. And that is primarily due to undereating for a long period of time. But the good news is that your metabolism can be sped up through the right nutrition and the right lifestyle. So for people who are fasting or only eating 1 or 2 meals a day, I would recommend you stop doing that. And if you're looking to fast, I would recommend doing it overnight. So what I do, because scientifically the research shows that 13 hours is enough to get all the benefits of fasting as far as like gut health and like giving your body enough time and everything. So 13 hours is like a good amount of time. So what I do is I stop eating at 6 p.m. and then I'll start eating again around 7 a.m. and that's 13 hours of fasting. You're giving your body enough time, but you still have enough time to eat 3 well-balanced meals a day. You still have enough time to get enough calories and to get enough nutrients and to fuel your metabolism properly, because your metabolism is a fire. So if you're not fueling it, it is going to slow down and that's going to cause a lot of issues. So metabolism and it's called metabolic adaptation, is a really big thing I see in my practice. So I would be very cautious when it comes to fasting or removing food from your diet. It's not about removing food, it's about making tweaks to your nutrition to lose weight and lose weight sustainably. Because while you may lose weight again in the short term, it is still affecting your body and you want to lose weight sustainably.
Thank you. I saw some research that was talking about intermittent fasting, where people were fasting for an entire day or 2 days or 3 days, and apparently that was leading to the body eating itself. So I think it's called autophagy. And what I found quite interesting about that is that they were saying that that leads to your body kind of like renewing cells and you feeling renewed in general. And I'm wondering, is that a good practice that you advise people to do occasionally under medical supervision so that they can heal their gut? Or are you totally against fasting?
No, like if you do it like once, twice a year, like that's fine. I'm talking about fasting every single day. Like I know people who fast every single day, and that leads to metabolic damage. Metabolic damage happens over time. It doesn't happen over a day. So yeah, like one day is fine. And I've also seen those research about fasting for 24 hours and the benefit of that. And I've done that in the past, but I would not recommend doing it every day, and I would not recommend doing it weekly. I would recommend like only doing it every now and again, just because, like I said, you don't want to get in that habit where you're not fueling your body properly, especially if it's something you're doing every single day.
Thank you. Are there any other lifestyle changes or fitness or nutrition tips that you can give to people who want to heal their gut to lose weight?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, I would recommend eating enough and eating enough consistently, but also when we were looking at the food we're eating, that matters too. So a balanced meal does include a fat, fiber, carb, and protein source. And eating these 4 things at every single meal not only gives you the right nutrients, it also is going to help improve your blood sugar, make it able for you to build muscle, and just really help energy levels. So eating a balanced meal, like I said, maybe 3 meals a day and some snacks can really help a lot with your gut health, your metabolism, your blood sugar, stuff like that. So really focus on eating balanced meals and really optimizing your protein, like I said, around 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight getting the 30 grams of fiber a day, including carbs, including fats, including nutrients like fruits, like vegetables, and just eating a balanced diet is really helpful for not only weight loss, but for gut health. And I see the people who eat balanced meals and eat enough consistently see improvements in their gut health and their weight and through every avenue of their life. So I would always recommend just making that one change can be a huge improvement.
Thank you. What are the biggest mistakes you've noticed with your clients that they do in terms of healing their gut? Is it the fact that first they're not even aware that they have to worry about their gut? Or is it something else that they do consistently that ruins the balance of the gut?
I think the biggest mistake that I see people make are trying random supplements on the internet and doing random diets. So random supplements and random diets are not tailored to you and your issue. And when I first started, like I said, I fall in that trap too. I tried every diet. I tried keto. I tried intermittent fasting. I tried carnivore. I tried this. I tried that. Nothing worked. And same for weight loss. A fad diet, a fad supplement, never going to help you lose weight. It's never going to help you heal your gut. You need something sustainable, and you need something that's tailored to you, your body, your goals, and what's kind of going on. So I always recommend, like, don't just try random things you see on the internet. Like, really find a plan that works for you and feels sustainable, because if it's not sustainable, then why would you do it long term, and why would it be something that's fun? I always tell people weight loss doesn't have to be miserable. It can be fun. Healing your gut doesn't have to be miserable. It can be fun and educational. And how can you make it more fun and more sustainable? I always ask people that and have people make changes that feel realistic to them.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find more information about you and your programs.
Yeah, so my Instagram is my name. That's probably the best way to reach me. It's Lea, Lea_Dombrowski, DOMBROWSKI. I'm also on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you are, you can find me. And my business is called Living with Strength. So my website is just www.livingwithstrength.com. But the best way to reach me is probably my Instagram. I'm pretty responsive on there. So feel free to reach out and ask me any questions. I'm genuinely happy to help. And let me know where you came from, and we can definitely chat. And I would be happy to answer any questions or help you navigate whatever is going on your health journey.
Thank you.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.